Well, hello and welcome to today's Material Musings. I'm smiling because I'm so glad you could join me today. I'm going to be going through some of the jewelry and beads and attaching them to some projects, yeah? And it's always a joy to go through some of these, some of your old supplies, some of the supplies that you may not have looked in for a while. And it's always a pleasure to go through the jewelry, especially. I love looking at jewelry. No, but I love the components that make them up, and getting excited about the potential things that I could do with them on projects, and it's just like amazing. And I can't promise that I won't get distracted in terms of I might find a few things I haven't seen for a while, or you can sometimes go down different rabbit holes, and I will try and contain myself and focus initially on the areas that we're going to cover, which is how do we attach some of these things that we spoke about in the previous video. I'll leave the link up in the corner there, so it'll be up there, and so you can go and look at that first video. I mean, I do kind of go through ways in which you attach them as I talk about the pieces, but I thought we'll do a little demonstration as well. And so this kind of thing is always a good idea, especially if you're feeling stuck. Like if you're feeling stuck, or if you're not feeling motivated with the projects that you're supposed to be working on, sometimes it's good to refresh your mind and see what you have in some of the other things that you may not have pulled out as part of that project, and then just go through them. And it not only kind of re-inspires you, but it motivates you to maybe add some of the pieces to new projects, or it could spark a project idea. Yeah, so it's always useful. And so maybe it's something that you need to give yourself some time at least once a week to do that, because I find if I don't stick to a particular work routine which keeps me in that state of flow, where these are the things that I have to do for this week, these are the areas that I need to cover, these are the experimentations that I need to do to spark new ideas. And I think that's what keeps me going, is that I allow that space, and sometimes it's not the appropriate space. It could be that actually you've got a deadline and you don't want to miss your deadline. So if you get kind of, let me experiment in that stage, sometimes it could be good if you know, if you know what you're doing, or if you know how to contain that and really kind of just say, okay, right, I need to focus on this thing. So if you can allocate a specific time for you to get into that, let me experiment, let me see if I mix this and this or combine that and that. And for me, I'm, not only working with fabric, eco-dyeing, all the embellishing, beading, slow stitching, I'm painting, I'm sculpting, I'm fabric, clay, and then the online courses and things like that. So for me, I do have to, in a way, compartmentalize some of the things that I do, and I have to have some really good systems in place so that I can keep track of what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and where the overflow is, and where it is that actually I've got some space now. And I'm thinking to myself, when I take the sleep breaks, when I go to sleep at night, it's just like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to do. It's almost like sleep is a distraction or an interruption, and you just want to get it over and done with. But I do value the downtime, because that's when obviously your body repairs, and I do go to bed thinking sometimes about some of the things that I want to do, or if there's maybe something that I've got I'm stuck with, or I'm trying to think about how to, look at it from different angles, I'll go to bed with that kind of question on my mind. And often, especially if you wake up and you just lay there for a moment or a few moments, and I usually wake up singing a song, one of them that I've written, and it's about walking in your gifts and shining. I will share it at some point. But often some of the solutions will come, because you've allowed yourself, I'm just going to lie horizontal now, allowed yourself to rest, and your body is, making the repairs that it needs to make. And especially if you're topping that off with eating the right foods and hydration and all the herbal teas. You must come to my creative garden at some point. And just, drink the herbal teas, and the effects that they have on the body is just like, you have to try it if you haven't tried it. And I'm not talking the shop bought in the bag herbal teas. I'm talking about, bush tea. I'm talking about bush tea. I'm talking about going out into a green space, your local park, and picking the leaves off the trees. But it's looking at the medicinal benefits of the plants. And so I go out in the garden, and there are various plants that I've been growing specifically for that reason, so that I can consume it and that it impacts on my health and well-being. So with that said, let us get distracted in jewelry and beading and slow stitching and all of the lovely things that come with that. And I hope that you are inspired and encouraged. And if there was a technique that you weren't sure of, that I'm able to share it. And if you've got, any questions, please do leave them in the comments. And just share with me the kind of things that you are working on yourself. And what is it about the fabric and the beading, my eye started to twitch, that you enjoy? Or is it just, sometimes it could be that I just enjoy looking at it. I don't want to do it myself, but I just enjoy looking at it. Like, there's this guy, I'm not sure what province he's from in China, but he does all of these, there was a female version, and I used to watch her, and she would be up in the mountains with her grandmother, and she would, make her own dyes, make her own lipstick from grape skins, and she would make furniture out of bamboo. She was just like a modern day, I don't know, lugging this along the trail with the donkey and then bringing it back, picking the fruit, and there's a whole range of things. She did everything. And this guy's very similar. So and you see the seasons go in the video. So, and then he would make things like, he took the ox bone, and then he shaved it, hand shaved all of these pieces, and made this piece of furniture with inlays, the polished bone, and they were, shaved with all the machinery. No, I don't even think he had machinery. He was doing it with the handsaw, and then rubbing it down. But I really love all of those kind of, videos where people are making things using their abilities, the skills, and he's learned a range of things across time, because some of the things that he does, things have to be grown, so it takes a season to grow, or they have to be soaked and over the winter, and and there is a whole process involved. We see it in like I think he's done some shorts, like you see in an Instagram post, and it's just a minute, which is really like, could be the span of 3 months, and it's all cut down into a minute. And so I say all that. I say all that to say that if there's things that you want to try, try it. You know, you got this one life, and you can't relive today. You can't relive yesterday. Once today's gone, that's it. So you have to make the most. And if there's things that you want to try, do it. And if there's things that you want to do to make, do it. Okay, so let's get to the table. Let's move over now, and we will look at some of these areas in which we can work with the supplies. And yeah, as I say, hope you're inspired. Okay, so let us get going. I want to show you this. This is one of the things that distracted me. It was a piece of jewelry that I thought I was going to take apart, but I was just like, oh, it's not bad, is it? I might just see how I get on with it, because I might not be able to wear it on my skin. Anyway, so let's not get distracted too much. So what I've done is pull out some of the fabrics that I might want to work on. I pulled out this one because I was going to show you how to attach the beads, but then I thought to myself, actually it's really is self-explanatory, and I know you would be able to get without me having to reattach some beads. I'm not saying that I'm not going to reattach attach some beads, but I was just like, I wasn't feeling to work on this one right now. So and I didn't want to keep you too long today, but I'll show you. So imagine this is just you know, a thread with a needle. So this, I use, you can use the embroidery floss, 6 strands, or you can use things like, this is crochet thread, and it comes in different sizes. So I've got 8 and 10. I'm not sure which one this is. Anyway, so imagine the beads. These are not quite seed beads, but they're small. Okay, yeah. So I've just put my needle up in here, added the beads on, and put it out into this point here. So then what I would do, ooh, and I have left the needle in for myself. Look at that. Oh, maybe not. That's a bit thick. So I'm going to move that. Right. So then I would come back in with a single strand from embroidery floss, and every 2 beads I would come up the back and go down in the front, and I would go every 2 or 3 beads. So if I went 3 beads, yeah, there's not much movement, so probably every 3 beads, and then I would attach them and go all the way around there and there. I've still got this. I guess one of the reasons why I didn't particularly feel like doing it today was I just saw that there was more that I needed to do than I thought. So yeah, and even some bits where I haven't gone every 3. I think I've done every 5, and I think I need to go back in. So this is one that I really have to focus and spend some time. And I know that there's other areas that I wanted to complete on here. So, and that would be fill in these areas. So these areas where it's red, I actually want to place some of the, this purple thread. So, and over here I'd actually added beads, but I don't actually want these red beads here. I just want to add the embroidery floss. But yeah, so that's what you would do with that. So the other thing that I bought out is my kawandis, because then I was thinking, no, they're looking a bit plain. We could add some, you know, beading and stuff to these. and I would probably frame them. And then the other things that I've got are some small pieces that I've stitched, and I can add some you know, pieces and share with you. So we're just going to keep it kind of low key. And then I've got this, it's a fabric journal that I've used as a way to experiment different things that I want to try out. So in one of the courses that I was teaching on, I was showing how I would use different embroidery techniques and work with lettering, and you know, you can then combine that with images, and if I wanted to practice some stitches again, so this was one I wanted to practice and see how I got on. And these are different ways in which you can use lettering. I could go in and add beads. You could add some really small seed beads in there. Yeah, so I leave this as a kind of practice, and then once I've kind of got that skill down pat, then I can go on and either teach it or, you know, do something else with it. And yeah, so this has got all this is a traveling thing that I can travel with it, I can work in it, and I can store stuff in it. Okay, so what are we going to do first? I was looking at some blue beads, and so that same idea with I've got two different sets that I thought I would work with. Okay, so here we got a range of sizes of beads. These are the seed beads here, and they're very fine. This particular needle wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to use. You do need a fine needle. Sometimes you can get them in the packs, but often you have to buy specific, you know, finer needles for the seed beads specifically. But okay, I'll show you this. So this is one of the ways that you can attach the beads. So this is like a really fine wire, and this came from one of the, I think it was one of the you know, like it's like picture frames. So I go and I will get a whole range of so it's like this. So it comes with a wire, but I don't have any in here at the moment. But these are the little kits that you can pick up. Oh right, here I've got one. So the wire is from this, where you would, this is what you'd put on the back of the picture frame, yeah? But it's a collection of wires, so you can take them apart, and they're quite strong. So maybe, you know, you can use two, or maybe you can use one. It depends on what you're going to use it for. But if you're just going to use it for a small project, I'll just use this, just one. So what I could potentially do is add this to a project. All I've done is thread the beads on here very carefully, and I could then take this and add it to a project. So there may be the chance that the wire goes through the fabric. Yes, yeah. So I can just tie it off for the moment, or tie it off, well, you're not really tying it off, but do it in a way around itself so that it's not going to come back through. And then what I do is I can stitch this. So I haven't had to use a thread, but I can stitch this and attach it to this piece here. Or I could double it like that. Yeah, but you can do it in a way that you're, I'll just come in a little bit more. That you're, I can stitch them across there and there until I reach the bottom. And then you've got a piece of jewelry or fabric, or not jewelry or fabric. You've got a selection of beads that you may not have been able to, you know, you might not have the appropriate sized needle. And again, it depends what you're doing. This is more like at the end I want to start adding these bits to it. I'm just thinking you can make headpieces with the wires as well. I mean, they'd be very delicate, but anyway, so yeah. So this can be attached with thread, and then, you know, I can maybe take some of these off because it's too long. And maybe let's do it. Let's attach these. Right, so I took the other end off and took some beads off, and I've put it through the top, and I'm just gonna do like, it's just like a little knot. Just to kind of hold it for now. It's all going to be stitched, so okay, so that's what we've got so far. So I'm going to get a needle and thread. I just want a this is just one strand, and it is doubled. Let's come out a bit. Okay, so as I was saying before, all you do is you come up one side. So I'm coming up on the one side and then go over on the other side. You can try and go through the same hole as you did on the way up, and you make sure you're coming in between a bead, like so. Yeah, and then I can go down. Because they're quite small, I won't have to kind of go down every two, so I'll just, you know, use my own judgment, 2, 3 or 4, but as long as you're going in between and you're securing it. I mean, it's not like somebody's going to be coming and playing with this all the time. It's an element which will be part of a bigger piece. Yeah, so you just want to make sure it is secure and the ends are secure. So again, you're coming up and going over in between the bead and going back in. Yeah, so that's a really easy way to attach beads. But again, for those who, you know, if you want to kind of use some of the things that you might have, the wires you can use, and you can add elements to your fabric in regards to jewelry. And you can do that when you're attaching some of the jewelry. You can attach it using wire, dependent on the project that you're working with. Yeah, because sometimes you just need the thread. Okay, like so. And that looks quite good, doesn't it, in terms of the... And I can do another row and, you know, make something of it. So with the bit at the back, we've got the wire, so I could just make sure that my needle goes through the wire and do a little kind of knot there. Yeah, but again, as I say, this is part of a bigger project, so it might be that I'm now going to take this and it's going to be stitched around, or you know, I'm going to be adding stitches and things like that. So as long as you've secured it well and you've secured both ends, then you're good to go. Okay, so let's look through some more of it. See, that was well, that wasn't really a distraction, but it was something we needed to do in terms of attaching. But before I go on, just so that's a nice use of these wires. I think you can get them in, I think I got these in the dollar store, and yeah, it comes full of these kind of things for picture frames. Not all of this, I think these are 2 packets that have been put together, that's why it's so full. And then we've got the wire, but I might keep the wire in my jewellery, and then I need to go back and get some more. Okay, so let's again look at some of these. So this was a necklace, and I've used a couple of the elements. I had several of them, so I didn't feel a way about using it. So I've got that. It looks like I've got some more that I tried with the wire, some more beads. So this is something that you can, you know, do several of them, and then you've got them that you can use on your projects. Some little beads. It was going to be an earring that I made up with a horse. And some larger beads. Let's look in this one. I think there's more. Okay, there's a lot of distraction in here. Oh, I can see something calling my name already. So I'd made up some earrings and I hadn't yet finished. And what I did is started off with the round bit, and then I've taken this was from a necklace. I wonder how heavy it's going to be. I might put the earpieces in and see how heavy it's going to be. See, there's a little trickle down the road. Look, let's do that now, shall we? So all it needs is the earpieces, and I've got them here, handy. Okay. But if I was gonna use the well, this is a good example of reusing. Actually, it's the wrong way around. This might be too heavy for my earlobes. But yeah, it's a good example of you're using something else. This was a necklace, and I've turned it into earrings, but equally it could be something that might find its way onto a project. You know, the jewelry pieces. I'm gonna put it in my ear and see. It feels, yeah, it already feels heavy. You don't want to rip out your earlobes. Anyway, let's have a look and see what else is in here. So I would go to, we have a store called Primark, and go and see what jewelry they have that I can buy and then take apart. So this would have been one. I can't wear these things on my skin. I haven't yet taken it apart yet. Let me see what colours we've got. So I brought the 2 different colours. I think these ones are speaking to me more. So I would just get my pliers or my jewellery thing and then undo the findings. Where are we? What's happened there? I need the other one. Yeah, so just take it apart. Put these back. And then I just take these apart. So go to your thrift store, have a look, or ask, you know, friends and family. They may know somebody who is wanting to get rid of, or you know, somebody might be clearing that everything's drawer. Yeah, so I've just gone in, opened it up, and then I'd remove the one that I want. So we might use these 2. I'll just put them here for now. I've got another one here which had these little hearts on, and these might be nice for something. There's 4 on the chain. Even the chain could be used for something, but I'm not sure yet. Got another little heart that came as part of maybe a necklace or something. Got some old jewellery. This, I think, used to be my mum's. It was part of a necklace. So I think I must have used the other bits. I'm not sure where the other bits are. I might need to do some filing with my jewellery. But I would like to maybe put this on something as a focal point, you know, because it's also got that memory, and so every time I look at it I would think of her, and it looks so pretty. And yeah, but I haven't, out of these particular ones, there are not the projects that I would attach it to. But again, you could find something. Actually, I do know which one. There's a project, but it might be too full. Anyway, so we see these. So the thing about this is that it's not lying flat. So what I would try and do is maybe remove these bits that were holding it on, so that I could then put it flat onto the project. Let me see. It might be easy. I might be able to just cut it off with my other tool here. So have to be careful with your eyes. Oh, it comes off pretty easy. Okay, let me do the other ones. I'm averting my eyes. I don't have safety goggles on. Okay. So you just have to be careful about any sharp edges that may have formed. Okay, and then remove any of the bits. So this is lying a lot flat now, flatter. So I could do something like that. Or I could find another one and see if it needs a piece on it. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, so we'll go with that, yeah? So, put it on that side. Okay, you can see. So the good thing about this is that it's got all of these tiny holes. Not sure whether you could have seen it from back there. Okay. Yeah? Got all these tiny holes. So I would get my needle, and I'm just going to use this thread, but I would find a thread that is more, it's closer to like the pale colour. This is gold, like a gold colour. And then all I do is come in from this side at the back, but come in there, yeah, and then loop over and just either attach it here. So if I use a different thread, like a pale thread, you won't be able to see it. And or I could go over this way. So go over this point, these points, or go over these points, yeah? So let me go back in. And I could do it so that it goes at the top and the bottom. You'll be able to see it in a minute. Let me do a few. I'm going top and bottom. And it almost looks like it's part of the design. But obviously if you're using, like if I did a pale, like a pale yellow thread, it would blend in a lot more easier. Right, see? So I'm going in over there at the top. They're very small, and I'm using just a single strand, yeah? It is doubled over, but it's a single strand, and yeah, so you can see how it's attaching. You can see if I hold it there, but if you use a corresponding thread like this colour, you really wouldn't be able to see it. Just do the last one there. Yeah, so I've done that whole top one. It's very sturdy, and with this, because I've done the top line, I could potentially get away with just doing this bottom bit here, and it would be quite sturdy. Yeah, so that's how you would attach jewellery to a piece. Find the holes, you know, make it flat if you need to. Find what holes you want to work on or work with, and then start adding them. Add in the stitches. Okay, so I've stitched them both on. For this one I did the top and this bottom bit. For this one I just did in around the center, and you can see I've used a thread that you can see, so that you can see where I've stitched it. But if you go in with, I don't know whether you've got gold thread, you might have, depending on the colour of the piece, you would go in with that colour thread so that you wouldn't actually see those bits. The other thing that you can do is come up with the thread and put a bead on it that's larger than the hole, and so the bead will hold it in place. But essentially, you know, you can try different colours. My nails. Try different colours and see how you get on, see what threads you have that go close to this piece, or if you can, you know, try it with the wire to go through the fabric. If you're doing more than one fabric, then that might be a bit harder. But here is another one that then is ready to be able to stitch on, add some additional stitching, or add some other elements. Should we have another look in the container? I've got some large beads here, so that would be similar in the same way, but like where these are attached, I'm not going to bother to split them up. I did, you know, I was going to make it, ooh, I feel like making some more earrings. I was going to make some earrings. Those look pretty and they're not too heavy. And you know, because these are glass beads, I might be able to attach them to like a piece of leather and make a necklace. So this is fine on my skin, but not the metal. Anyway, so that's that. Some really large, I wouldn't necessarily, I'd use these with additional beads to maybe hang on a large mixed media piece. And yeah, just other kind of small charms and things that can be added to projects. You know, it's just really for you to go through them and see what. It's an interesting one. Is this an ear cuff? This is a earring, and that goes around the other bit of your ear. I only have one. So this I think I bought from thrift store. So there was a whole bag full of jewellery, and some of these were the better pieces that I could, you know, attach. But again, these would be attached at the final bit where I'm trying to add accents to a large piece. So let's take this one out, because there may be a place like, so for this, for this particular one, I could maybe come in and do something like that. Ooh. Yeah, I could feel that, yeah. So it's quite a solid piece, so I would just really be attaching this with the hole in it. I would apply the thread and stitch it into this area. Then I would come down. So these are a whole load of, a cluster of beads, but they're attached. And there's a gap there where I could bring the needle through and attach it to the, attach it to here. But I'm definitely liking this. And this has got, so this was an earring, I think. There's a hook there. So I can either take this off, or let me see if I could hook it through this, if there's any give. I'm not going to try and force it too much. Just feel like fingers and thumbs at the moment, but ideally what you want it to do is go through to the other side, but it doesn't look like, well, it hasn't done that. I've just done it on the surface, but I can just leave it there for the moment. It hasn't even done it properly, but I can get a better feel for that. But I am feeling that. Let me give myself some space here. So I might get the same thread as this and attach it. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. So in preparation, I would take these two apart. See where the split is there. And I, make sure I save all of these because they can be used in another project. So that's there. It can go just there like that. And then this can be used for something else. Let's see if I've got, oh, I do have the colour. Look, it's here. Actually, that's the one that I was using, isn't it? Right, so I've got the same colour thread. It's funny, as I said, I wasn't going to work on it, but got the same colour thread, so I'm putting it in through the back, through the middle. Now, I might also eventually add some beads, other beads, like say in the center point here, but for now I'm just going to do this. So we take it through. I'm going to take it round the back and bring it out again. Yeah. So that's round the back. And I do want it to be held like this. Yeah. So I'm going to come back in, go through the loop, and go out the back again. Right, as I say, these are attached to the base, and I can come through one of them and attach it so that it stays positioned there like that. Okay, so I've gone in the bottom there, and I really just want to loop it around a couple and go back in. Like so, and then do it a few more times at the bottom there. And you do it as many times as you feel, it's going to be secure and it's not going to move. At the bottom of this is some more loops so that I can attach it with thread there as well. Okay, so that's pretty attached. So I just finish off at the back, and that's another one, another piece that's done on here. So that really is like, I can come in and give you a good look. Yeah. So at the top there's a loop, at the bottom there's a series of loops, probably 5, which these beads are attached to. So what I've done is put the thread through here, and then I've come up the back here, and I've gone around these clusters of loops, but I've also gone through the loop on either side, so it's attached at these 3 points and along the middle. Okay, and then you would just tie this off as is. This is going to be it's going to have a backing, so all of this, come out, wherever you are. So all of this would be covered. So I just tie this off and cut the thread. Okay, so that's really that gives you a good idea in terms of attaching now the jewelry, the beading and other elements. You just find, you know, where are the holes that it has, what can be attached, what can you use to do the attaching, whether it's embroidery, floss, make sure that it's archival, that it's strong, so that over time it doesn't wear out or disintegrate. So as I say, for these ones where they've got the holes in, match the thread with the colour of the piece. I was just showing you so that you could see with these threads here, but it gives you an idea as to where you could potentially attach your thread. And with something like this, you just have to, you know, take your time and attach them, and they will be, you know, quite secure as well. But I think this one is probably my favourite. And finding potential additional jewellery bits that I can put together in this container. I haven't looked at some of these pieces, but some of them are really nice, and it's to really find, especially the silver one, to find even just small bits like that that could be attached to a project, or, you know, or just these small elements that can be attached, and then I could then be working on something and think, oh yeah, let me use this on another surface, or even here. And it's, again, just to look at what you have, go through it and say, okay, let me see if I can find some. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Let's go over this way. So it's these silver ones that have got the, these were kind of broken jewellery that somebody's discarded, but they look really pretty. And especially with these, they're silver earrings, and there's usually only one of. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you do have any more questions, then do not hesitate to ask. Oh, that's a little ring that's resurfaced. I used to wear lots of jewellery back in the day. Mainly silver. I love silver, or only silver really. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. There's lots for you to be getting on with and to experiment. And over the course of time, I will be showing some other projects that I'm working on that will require jewellery and elements to go with it. So I will be sharing with you how to work on them. But for now, I wish you well, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.